Temptation, temptation, temptation. Temptation will lead you straight on the path to Hell, or your conquering of temptation will lead you towards and to achieve and live the life of your dreams. And today we're going to discuss how temptation is just lurking around every corner and present in our lives every single day. And it's that kind of door, right? It's kind of that test from the universe, from God, whatever you want to call it, that is always kind of dangling in front of you like a little bait. Are you going to take it? Come on, give in to temptation, right? That voice in your head, right? Whatever that thing is, right? You guys still haven't let me know, glasses or no glasses, right? I'll take them off because I know people prefer eye contact, but you let me know. Temptation, temptation, temptation. Now, let's get into this. This is present at every macro and also every micro level. I can give you a million examples of temptation. When I was coming up playing basketball, it was tempting to take time off like everybody else, to go party every weekend, to drink, to get lost in the moment, to go hit every single party, right? And I was an athlete in college too, so the women and the attention came automatically. Was that tempting? Hell yeah, especially when every other teammate is doing it. But what did I do? Did I give in to temptation? Of course, I'm human, every once in a while. But the vast majority of the time, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't partying. When everyone else was out snoozing and messing around, I was in the gym. When people went on break to go back home, I was in the gym working on my game. And that's why I made it to where I made it. And in the long run, it paid off. You have temptation every single morning to hit the snooze button and not wake up on time. You have the temptation every single day to, instead of making sure that you live a healthy lifestyle and get good sleep and get to sleep on time and hydrate yourself, to just F off with all that stuff and in the morning grab an energy drink or a coffee or whatever it is that you do. And then it's so normalized in society, all these things, that now the justifications aren't even justifications anymore. It's what it is. And we create counter arguments about how alcohol is healthy and coffee's healthy and all this other stuff. It's insane. We've normalized insanity, temptation, debauchery, and a bunch of other things that just run rampant in society. And then we wonder why, especially as we follow the data, the statistics, and everything that we've seen, virtually everything has been in decline the last decade, too, and it's like accelerating. Mental health down the drain, more people offing themselves, right? Relationships in shambles, people's finances getting worse. Some of it out of our control, absolutely. However, a vast majority of it under our control. And one of the pillars of that control is ultimately your choice and what you do with temptation. Now, I could sit here and rifle off a million examples, like coming home and instead of working on your side hustle or picking up the book, spending quality time with the family, what do? You just jump to the video game and play for 6 hours straight. It's not a pastime for you anymore. It's become an addiction. Just like every day having 2 or 3 beers, gambling all the time, right? Things that, again, every once in a while could be innocent, very quickly turn into and spiral into addictions and things that we do not have control over. And because so many people around us do the 2 or 3 beers every day, well, it's not an addiction. My buddy does it and he does it and they do it, right? So we get that social proof that this addiction is normal. So now it's not an addiction anymore. It's just a normal thing in life. Oh, you need to loosen up and have fun. What the fuck are people talking about? How is destroying myself and giving into temptation fun? It doesn't make any sense. Why would I surrender my senses, my future, my well-being for a momentary gratification? And when people don't have the fortitude, the foresight, the insight, the understanding, and the maturity, they'll give into it. But see, that's why we need to learn and grow and develop, not just from our elders and the people who teach us, but from other people's life lessons. And more importantly, we need to be able to clearly define the difference between a mistake and a choice. A lot of people now elect to define a bad choice that they make, and instead of taking responsibility, oh, it was just a mistake. Like right now, I hear a lot of men and women, oh, well, I had a kid and it was a mistake. No, that was a choice. You decided to have sex with each other, you did it unprotected, and then you brought that kid to term. All of that was a choice. You need to take responsibility for it. That wasn't a mistake. A mistake is I didn't know the stove was hot and I touched it by accident and I didn't feel any heat and I had no indication I accidentally touched it. Or I turned and my hand just happened to swipe it and I burned myself. That's a mistake. The vast majority of things that people describe or label as a mistake was just a bad choice and they don't want to take responsibility for it. And that's how they try to weasel their way around temptation, because temptation is everywhere. It's easier to take time off. It's easier to just go out on the weekends and do what everybody else does instead of focusing on yourself. It's easier to just mess around, scroll on TikTok, mindlessly entertain yourself online instead of picking up books, going to events, doing coaching and the courses and the stuff that people really should be going to. And what's funny is I see a lot of people in the same breath, they'll make fun of somebody, I don't know, doing like a sales seminar. Oh, it's a waste of money or that's a scam. And then people are paying $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 of money for an education from a university for a pointless piece of paper in many cases. Not always, but in many cases. But that's okay. You can put yourself in mountains of debt for going to school because it's socially acceptable. But you spend $1,000 or $2,000 on a course that could help you in sales to make $100,000 or $200,000, you're a lunatic, you're crazy, right? All this feeds into the same thing, in a way. So it's tempting to give into social proof and get that college paper, right? That degree. Again, if you want it, you want to be a doctor, lawyer, you have a specific career path, go for it. But let's be real, most people aren't doing that. They're just going because that's the expectation of others, when maybe deep down inside they would want. So that is a form of temptation, to please others. People pleasing is giving into temptation. Being too nice is giving into temptation. Not drawing the line like I've talked about in previous videos and lectures, that's giving into temptation. Putting off the priorities that you know that you need to focus on, that's giving into temptation, because it's easier, it's more comfortable to do it the other way and give up and not do the work. And well, I want to go door to door, Bryan, but it's hot today. I want to make phone calls, but people are being mean. Grow up, toughen up. Our society is way too soft. Way too soft. Everything has been relabeled. You can't say anything. People like me get canceled because apparently hate speech and all these new modern woke terms are being thrown out. I mean, the world is just in shambles. You can't even go out and say hi to people anymore because people get offended. Comedians are being threatened to be canceled. Fucking comedians. Let the dude go on stage and say whatever the hell he wants. What are we talking about here? If you don't like it, leave. Don't watch. Don't go to the show. But now we're going, it's happened to me, y'all. People mass reporting my Instagram or YouTube. Why do you think I had to start over on YouTube and Instagram? People going to my business pages for me and my team and giving false reviews because they don't agree on a political opinion that I have. Grow up. Grow up. Man, the world is just insane. And instead of people vocalizing this, because most people agree with me, I get DMs, I get flooded with DMs, messages, and emails and in-person interact. People agree with me, but because nobody says anything, I'm one of the few that actually comes out and says it, and then I get canceled. That culture exists because most of us bite our tongue. That's giving into temptation. That's taking the easy route. Now, I'm glad to see that after what I perceive to be over 10 years, more people are coming out and saying, okay, enough of the woke stuff, and more people are being vocal. Good, finally. Because I've been vocal about a lot of this stuff since 2014 and 15. And it all came to a culmination in 2020, 2021 when I started getting censored and all that stuff got crazy. Good. I'm happy. You guys aren't giving into the temptation of wanting to be safe anymore. Well, I got to protect this and that. Look, what do you mean you got to protect it? The world is slowly burning around us and accelerating at the rate that it's burning. It's crazy. We need to get back to wholesome, regular living and get away from this lunacy. We have tamed the world to such a degree that we create problems now, right? Now, I don't want to go off into a rant. I'll talk about that in a different video. But take a look at temptation. It's everywhere. In these examples that I gave you and a lot of these things that I'm talking about, the easy route is typically temptation. Well, Bryan, I want to become a better public speaker. But what are you doing about it? Right? Something I do for my coaching program is every Sunday, it's optional, we do our own version of Toastmasters. Toastmasters is a platform where you go, organization that helps you with your public speaking skills. Ergo, aka to work on your ability to communicate. Oh, I want to get better. I want to get better. But what does everybody do? They want the easy route. Well, talking in front of people is scary. Okay, how else are you going to get better at communicating? You're not going to get better at communicating by reading a fucking book. So what do? You confuse yourself. You give into the temptation of, well, I'm going to pretend like I'm getting better and talk myself into that story and justification. I'm going to read a book and I'm going to watch a video. You're not getting better at communication by doing that. You're giving into the temptation of taking it easy on dealing with the emotions. And instead of taking the proper route, the real route of improvement and getting better, you weasel your way around it. That's why people are falling prey to these bullshit ass coaches and gurus and all this fake ass marketing on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, because they buy the BS. They are preying on that little weakness in you. You are giving into the temptation of the possibility of that magic bullet finally being real, and I can skip the work and work from home and make $1 million. How many times are we going to keep falling for the same nonsense? You are giving into temptation. And by the way, you fell prey to that marketing. I'm not excited about that. I do feel empathy for that. However, that's not a mistake. That's a choice that you make, and you have to take responsibility for giving into the temptation. Because every single one of you that have talked to me that have fallen for that nonsense, you said you knew in your gut and deep down that you knew it was BS, or at least you were suspicious of it, and you still paid your money. You gave into temptation, you now have to accept it and move on. But what happens? Now people get jaded and tainted. So now you come to me or somebody else, well, I can't pay, I can't commit, I can't do anything, I can't put in my time and effort because I got burned. That's your fault. You need to accept it and move on. Not now pass on that burden to other people, because that's how we start spiraling into more issues. People get scarred or have issues from poor choices in the past, and they want to bring it forward and shove it onto you. I'm not going to pussyfoot around you or give you a discount or go the extra mile because you feel bad. I'm sorry. They didn't do that for me. I'm not going to do it for you. Because in the end, all I'm doing is enabling that behavior in you. And you don't want that. It may feel good in the moment, but the long-term repercussions of that are negative, and you don't want that. So you need some of that tough love. The, hey, you know what? Get up. You scraped your knees and elbows, get up, wipe them off, clean them, and then move forward. I'm not going to sit there and baby you and hold you and pick you up and carry you across the finish line. That's not going to work. You have to deal with the consequences of giving into temptation and making a poor choice. Cool. But let's move forward. Temptation is everywhere. Your phone pings. That's temptation. To grab it and get your dopamine hit. Turn off your notifications. That's what I do. My phone never pings. It's great. Sometimes I go hours and hours and hours without looking at my phone. It is glorious. It is glorious. Think about a lot of the things that make you uncomfortable. The temptation is to do the opposite. And what do? You give into temptation. The temptation is, I'm going to sleep in today and not work out. Even though you want to work out and you have a goal to have a good physique and to be healthy and to feel good and to have abundant energy. 40 years old now, y'all. I have more energy than a lot of people 10, 15, 18, 20 years younger than me. I keep up with all the young guys in the gym and we box. I can still move. Of course, okay, we'll say, Bryan, you're a professional athlete. Cool, fair enough. So let's say physically, I'm already up here compared to the average person. Okay, but the vast majority of what I exhibit today is because of the hard work and consistency that I put in. I cook most of my food. I don't really eat out. I take care of myself. I get good sleep most of the time. I'm not perfect, right? But 80, 90% of the time, I'm on it, which is why I continuously feel good. Something I've told you guys, sun gazing, right? Getting out there and getting some sun at least a couple days a week, right? The gym that I work out at on the bars, they put them outside. Is it hot? Is it humid? Yes, but I get out there 20, 30, 40-minute workouts a lot of times, maybe even more sometimes, under the sun. I love it. I can simultaneously get sun while I work out. Perfect. Kill two birds with one stone. But I prioritize those things. I don't give in to the temptation of going inside and working out in the weight room with the AC. Same thing in the boxing gym. I get away from the fan. I want to sweat more. I want to feel it. I want to be comfortable in the discomfort so I don't give in to temptation. I have people here at my house right now staying. That's why I have the AC on. Otherwise, I just open up the windows. Do I have the money to pay for AC? Yes. I grew up without it. I can have it now. I go visit my family. I don't care. I don't need to be, I need a bed. I'll sleep on the fucking table underneath the ceiling fan because we have 10 people in a small little 2-bedroom house. I don't care. I'm not going to give in to temptation. You see, we become accustomed to all that stuff. And then you become a slave to it. Which is why you see a big push right now for minimalism and a lot of these other like Again, repackaged, but ancient principles that people used to live by. This is why a lot of warriors and warrior cultures, and you read about and study history, a lot of them live like a very minimalist life. They don't want them giving into that stuff and falling prey because they know how we are as human beings. We get used to comforts in those things. It's like the old saying in boxing, right? It's tough to get up early and go for a jog when you wake up in silk pajamas. That's giving into temptation. Now, if you worked hard and you earned it, great. I don't care. Like, I want to buy land and be able to grow my own food, and I'm going to do that here in the future, and I'm going to enjoy the fruits of my labor. But I'm not going to suddenly get lazy and depend on that. If I have to tomorrow snap my fingers and move into another 500 square foot apartment to make shit happen, I'll do it. I don't care. And I'll show the world. I'll show a fucking, video of it. I don't care. Let people say what they want to say. I don't give a shit. Who cares? I'm not going to give in to temptation. That's why people will, again, be making average income, barely above average income, but I need the nicest car and the nicest house, and you're barely staying above float, like above water, right? You're barely floating. Afloat, I guess is the word, right? I misspoke there. Barely. You're one accident, one disaster away from being in shambles financially and losing it all and being in a mountain of debt. But what is that? Temptation to want to show off and get validation for the nice car or this and that. I knew when I had my Lamborghini, y'all. I knew people who had like a 5 Series BMW who were making the same fucking payment that I was making for a Lamborghini. I was paying about $1,300 a month and change for my Lamborghini per month because I traded in the other car and I put a lot of money down, about 50% down, a little bit more, right? I knew people that were leasing BMWs and paying the same as me, and their jaw was dropping when they're looking at my payment. How the fuck are you only... Right, but you're moving stupid because you think you're cool in your 5 Series BMW and you're willing to put yourself in debt, overextend yourself to try to get validation. Temptation. You see how all of this boils down to temptation? Could I have given into the temptation and incorrectly bought my Lamborghini sooner? Yes, but I decided to buy more property, right? Trade in the other car, save up a little bit more bread, right? And move properly, wait a couple more months. I think it was 3 to 5 months that I waited to purchase it correctly and not give in to the temptation. The first time, you guys remember on my old channel, for those of you who have been around, when I bought that Audi, the same Audi I have now, just the manual version. Back then, 10 years ago when I bought it, well, a little bit more now, right? The end of 2013 when I bought that Audi. I admitted that was a mistake. What did I do? I gave into temptation of wanting to already enjoy the fruits of my labor too soon, show off, and get that car. Ended up being a financial mistake, which I admitted many times. Taught me a lot. Glad I kind of did it, but at the end of the day, that wasn't the right thing. I should have waited. I should have waited probably a couple more months. Then it would have been a better decision, and I wouldn't have given it. I gave into temptation. I gave into the emotion. I gave into the excitement of, oh, I'm going to get this new car, right? It's a manual. It's a fucking Audi. It's got the blacked out package, all the BS that we fall for, the marketing. I fell for it. Just like you'll have that girl over at your house and you think something's going to happen and you know, man, I need to go to sleep and kick her out. But what do? You give into temptation and you let her stay and you ruin your night of sleep. Then your next day's ruined because you're tired and you didn't sleep, and you get my point. Giving into temptation. You need control over temptation. If you can master your control of temptation, you are a very powerful human being, and other people will recognize that in you. They know they can't play you like a puppet because that's one of the strings that people pull, temptation. I know people who give into temptation, many of them. I have many customers who I know if I really wanted to manipulate, I could dangle temptation in their face and they're going to fall for the bait. Now, I don't do it because I'm an ethical salesperson. But I know if I really wanted to manipulate somebody in an evil way, oh man, that's one of the strings that I could pull super hard because I can move them with that. I know people are very attracted to and susceptible to temptation. And I'm sure many of you are too. This is why it's very easy for people to get sucked up into drinking and drugs and excessive, video games and gambling and porn or whatever it is, right? I don't even know if you can say those words anymore. It's insane, but you got to control temptation. If you can control temptation and grab it by the horns and make it do as you please and not vice versa, you will be a very powerful and elevated individual. So we need to become aware of it, and we need to not allow it to have a conscious hold on us. Because it has a conscious and a subconscious hold, but at least at the conscious level, you can fight it. You can fight it because awareness is key. But you got to be able to develop that strength of character to ward it off and not give into it, and make sure that these movements and these actions that you're taking are not coming from emotion or impulse, but from calculated choice. Calculated choice, intelligence, reason, logic, not emotion, not temptation, not lust, not this, not that. This side, using this, higher intelligence. So you have a lot of work to do. Conquer temptation, you conquer a lot in life. Anything I can do for you guys, let me know. Links are in the description for you to take advantage of the resources. If you feel so inclined, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, leave me a comment as well about these, glasses or no glasses. See you in the next video. Peace.